This episode is not sponsored, but we encourage you to help support the small businesses, charities, and organisations that we mention. Hello everyone, welcome back to our circle. I'm Jess.
I'm Rhiannon.
And today's episode, we are talking about birth control.
Dun, dun.
So, birth control. So, apparently, a third of women in the UK have said that their access to contraception has gotten harder during the pandemic.
Interesting. A third?
Very interesting. A third, yes.
Quite a significant fraction there.
It is quite a lot. I don't know about you, but there's definitely been on my social media a few announcements of babies on their way, pandemic babies.
Oh yeah.
But birth control, I mean, I know it's called birth control, but that's not the only reason I guess people will take the pill, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There are other reasons like regulating periods. Apparently it's supposed to make your periods less painful. It reduces hormonal acne in some people, reduces the risk of uterine cancer, ovarian cysts. People who have, I know, very interesting. That's actually a personal experience of mine that I can talk about later on, which I thought was a reason it was caused by taking the pill, but we'll talk about that afterwards. Relieving PMS symptoms, managing endometriosis, helping menstrual migraines.
Probably period related then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually, yeah. Some people just want to bleed on their own terms. They want to know when they want to bleed. And also it reduces the risk of anemia, apparently, also.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so there's like different types of pills, isn't there? There's one where you have your 7 days off, or there's one that you take all month round.
Yeah. Did you know when you're on the pill though, it's not a real period? I didn't know this until later on.
Yeah, it's a hormonal bleed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a fake one.
So I was always like, I definitely want to have that week off when I started taking the pill, because I was like, oh, I still want to get my periods so that I know that I'm not pregnant or whatever. But I mean, I guess that's not really an indication of that's not really your period, is it?
Yeah.
So yeah, my personal experience is that I have taken the pill on and off. I've tried it so many times. That's been for contraception reasons.
Have you taken it like several types of pills as well, or just the same one?
Yeah. So I have taken the combination pill, which I believe is estrogen and progesterone.
I don't actually know, if I'm being honest. I just know the name of the one that I took when I took it.
Right, okay. Yeah, no, it was, I think it's those.
30E.
I think I've tried that one before. Yeah, or there's the mini pill, they call it. So it's the progesterone only pill.
Okay.
So I've tried that as well. Personal experience, I only took it to prevent getting pregnant, but I didn't enjoy my experience on it. I felt extremely anxious.
Yeah.
My moods were down. From the list I read out earlier of the supposed like things that it helps with, the hormonal acne, that was something that actually got worse for me when taking the pill. It did not clear my skin up. I do know of people who have had their skin clear up because they've taken it, but
it's mad,
personally, I don't know how it works.
I mean, it shows how different everyone is. Everyone's body reacts to things differently, but it is crazy that what one person could be using that medication for, it can cause that for someone else.
Yeah, and exactly. I also briefly touched on, we said about the ovarian cysts. So a few years ago, I had a cyst on one of my ovaries, and I had to have my ovary removed because it just stopped the ovary from functioning. And this wasn't actually diagnosed by the doctor, but I felt at that time, I was in uni, I was extremely anxious. I'd had a really bad sort of few months at the time, and I would say that I had this gut feeling that taking the pill really didn't help me. I think for the anxiety, but also I think with the cysts as well, because I'd never had that problem before. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
How did you know that you had the cyst? I don't even remember this. Like, as in, I remember obviously you telling us that you had it and everything that was going on, but I don't remember you feeling something or finding something. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I felt a lump.
Okay.
I don't even know how, but I was just kind of feeling around the bottom of my stomach, and I just felt this lump, and I was like, that's weird. And then I was going to the doctor about something else. I think it was literally just I was ill from something.
Mm.
And I just mentioned it like out of the blue. I was just like, yeah, I've felt this little lump. I'm sure it's nothing, but thought I'd mention it. And then they sort of felt around. And I think because it was quite in a quite a strange place, it was quite high up. They
Right.
were like, oh, it could be something just on your abs, and it might just be something that goes down, but we'll book you in for a scan just in case. And yeah, and it grew quite rapidly in a short period of time. So I
Mm.
went back to the doctor and said, look, it's got bigger. And they sort of sped up the scan process. And then, yeah, I found out it basically had taken over my ovary. And it turned out actually it was my right ovary had come all the way behind my uterus and was on the left side.
Oh my
So my
God.
two ovaries were on the same side.
I didn't know that.
And they didn't know that until they operated. I think that was, oh no, they didn't know which ovary it was
Oh my
until they
gosh.
operated, because they were both on the same side. But
Wow.
luckily it was fine. It was all
Mm.
benign. But obviously at the time it was quite daunting, because didn't know the seriousness of it, and I guess it all happened in such a short period of time. But I'm pretty sure after that I came off the pill, and that was just a personal choice. So I was like, I have this weird feeling that that's not good for me, so I'm just going to stop.
Mm.
But I guess from going into like a new relationship, or from going from being sexually active to not, I would stop taking it and then take it again almost like as and when I needed it. I didn't
Right.
like the idea of having to take it for years and years and years, because I just thought that seems really unnatural to me. I didn't want to
Yeah.
somehow muck up my natural cycle. And I think I already had it in my head that I was going to struggle with fertility anyway because of the ovary situation.
Mm.
So I was like, right, I don't want to do anything to harm that. And I always felt so anxious whenever I took it. I was just like, something doesn't feel right. I always
Mm.
had this like weird, like jittery feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Mm.
What's your experience of taking it?
So I started pill when I was 15, I think. Well, maybe I was 6. No, I think I was 15. I was taking it because I needed something to help my periods. I get really, really bad periods where I'm in a lot of pain.
That's still to this day, isn't it? So
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
started when,
Yeah,
yeah.
I still have really bad periods, but I would rather physical pain than mental pain. Yeah, when I was younger, though, I feel like they were kind of worse in some ways, because I would either throw up or like pass out, or feel like I was about to pass out. And so I went on the pill, and it regulated the periods, like obviously completely, and it brought the pain levels down so much. I couldn't believe it. So that was great. I then obviously started using it as contraception, which was good. Like obviously it did its job and stuff, but I think at that point in my life, I probably shouldn't have been sexually active. I just don't think, looking back, I don't think I was ready for it. So my
Mhm.
whole sort of mentality back then was just horrific. And I do think a lot of it is to do with the pill as well. I just think my
Mm.
mentality back then was just awful. I was so anxious. I was making decisions that just weren't the greatest, because I was in a relationship from 14 to 17 that just wasn't great for me. And so I don't think that helped at all. And then I went straight into another relationship from 17 to 20. And so that most of that time I stayed on the pill, but because my anxiety had got so horrific, and I just wanted everything, like you said, to make your body feel natural, to get
Mm.
anything that could be potentially sort of fucking up my brain. I wanted it out. So
Like a
um
cleanse,
yeah,
like
I
it's
wanted a
just,
complete
yeah.
detox, and my boyfriend at the time wanted the same for me. He was like, I do not mind, like, get off the pill, like we can use other stuff, that's absolutely fine. I
Mm.
just want you to feel you again, or like good. And
Mm.
so that was pretty much the last time I really took it. I've taken it for like vacations, like that's more being an adult trying to be safe, like making
Right.
sure I'm covered. It's not really coming from oh, what if I have a period out there? I couldn't care less if I have a period. I'm more like, no, I just want to make sure I'm safe.
In case the occasion
Yeah, just
arises.
in
I
case, who
understand.
knows? Yeah. At the same time, quite on the fence about it, just from a personal point of view. I think
Mm.
for other people, could not support it more. If that's your only way of like being safe with sex, go for it. If it helps with your periods, great. If you're awful at remembering when your periods are, it's great for regulating them. I also can't remember, but I feel like when I was in secondary school, when everyone started going on the pill, it had, like we were saying, weird effects on everyone. So some girls' boobs started like swelling up, and like they would be like, oh, I've got boobs
Mm.
now thanks to the pill. Some of them, I feel like I don't remember getting physical side effects. Like I don't remember gaining weight. I don't remember losing weight. I don't remember boobs growing, like shrinking or anything. But everyone around me, they were just fluctuating in all different ways. I was like, wow, what is happening to everyone? So And obviously I clearly didn't recognize that mine wasn't a physical thing, it was completely mental. So everyone's changing here, whereas my brain is just going, oh my God, and like just thinking things. So so for me, my experience was it was negative as a teenager, let's say, but as an adult I can appreciate its use in the same way that you previously said, like you would use it when you needed it. So I think I'm comfortable with it like that. If I was in a relationship, I don't know if that's something I would use.
Right, that leads me into, I guess, the next section that I was going to talk about.
Classes have come on.
Yes, which was the coil.
Okay. I'm quite open to it.
So, see, I was open to the idea because there are, I think, two different types. One which is hormonal and one which is copper. So copper is supposed to kill the sperm, right, before it reaches where it needs. Sorry, that's a bit brutal, but
sound quite much, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean that's just what it does.
No,
and I think that appealed to me because of the lack of hormones. I was like, okay, that hopefully wouldn't affect my brain. And also it's a bit more like located
where
at
it needs
the area rather than you're taking it in here and it has to get all the way down there.
It's like no, we've put like the best soldier guarding the kingdom sort of thing.
That's such a good way of
but
putting
then in
it,
my head, I know this sounds bad, and obviously I clearly do not understand the medical part of it all, but in my head I'm like, so is it like a sword that's just chopping these sperms up so one sperm could suddenly get into my egg and it could like have half of its leg missing? Like, is that what's going to happen? Like, I don't quite understand it.
I'm hoping what it means is that it just can't even get past it.
Okay.
So it's almost like, because I'm pretty sure it looks like a fish hook type thing.
It does. It's like a little, like a V.
Yeah, I swear it looks a bit like like where your ovaries are and stuff.
It's like
it's like your uterus.
It's like a mini uterus thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never actually had it put in, and I feel like it's really recommended to people who have had children and are slightly older, I think.
Oh really?
I think so. I've had quite a few friends, previous like co-workers, who have had it put in and have said it's so painful. And said it's such a negative experience with putting it in, but also a lot of people I know have had their bodies like rejecting it, so it wouldn't settle in them. They would bleed, they would be really.
I've heard that one where you just like bleed non-stop like for quite a long time because your body's trying to get used to it. That I'm not really down for.
No.
I just don't really like the idea of just bleeding constantly for a long time. But then I've also heard that with IUDs, like is that the same thing? IUD where it's
the implant,
I'm not cool with that one.
No, but I guess one of the plus sides to the coil though is that it's you don't have to think about it. That's kind of all there, all going to manage itself. And also I think some of them last up to something like 10-15 years. So
I don't know how I feel about that either.
Well, this is what I mean. I guess it all depends on the person, but
someone might love
personally
that.
I personally like being in control, so I like to be like taking the pill because I was like, right, I can stop this whenever I want.
Same, that's exactly how I felt.
But whereas if you've got something like a coil in you literally have to get it removed kind of surgically almost, and no thank you, that's not something I really want to do. But who knows, in the future I might get it like after.
Maybe. I feel like the main contraceptive things that people are told about, or women are told about, I guess, is the pill, the coil, and an IUD pretty much. I know that there's the shot that you get like once every 6 months, is it?
I think it's 3.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Don't know how I feel about that for me.
Again, it's like a lack of control thing.
For me, I need to know that I think you and I are quite similar in that we like to keep our bodies as natural as possible. Like the only stuff we're putting into there is really, I mean, maybe you might disagree, but I think the only thing I really put into my body is pain relief if I really need it.
I agree.
I try not to do that. The only time really where I've been sort of popping them like crazy was when I did my ribs a couple of months ago, because I've never been in so much pain in my life. I was just like, give me everything. So
I mean, that's saying a lot, because I mean, I've known you for so long and I know that you really don't want to take pain relief unless you really have to.
I'm just sort of quite paranoid about medicine. Not that I don't trust it, I think I over trust it. I like having control. I like having control of what is going into my body with medicine and stuff. So I think for me, birth control has to be something I can control, or feel, I don't know, comforted by the fact that like it is definitely working. It won't screw me up, I guess, if I'm not completely in control.
Or you can stop if you feel like it's not working for you. You
Yeah.
can just be like, okay, this isn't for me. I'm going to stop today.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then, yeah.
But then surprisingly, there's quite a few other ones, aren't there? And you've tried them.
Yeah. So I've tried one called the vaginal ring.
I've
And the only
never
way I
heard of
can,
this until you had
I
tried
think it's fairly new. I think it's fairly new because I went to the doctor and I said, look, the pill's not working for me. I've tried it multiple times over the
it. Mhm.
years. What else have you got? Basically. And they gave me all those options that we've spoken about, but I just was like, oh, it's still so many hormones. It's just in different forms, isn't it? So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you can inject me, but that's still 3 months of hormones. And again, the control thing. So they suggested the vaginal ring. They said, this is quite new, but we've heard good things. So
Mhm.
give it a go. And
Mhm.
again, I was like, okay, that's something that I can put in and out whenever I want. And again, it's
Yes, at the
right in that
source.
area. Yeah, at the source, those soldiers. So basically, the only way I can describe what it looks like is if you ever went to like a foam party or something when you were younger, and you used to get those like what are they called? Like not LED, but like
Yeah, the glow sticks.
glow sticks. It's literally a glow stick, like a bracelet glow stick,
Yeah,
and you kind of, I'm pretty sure you crack it as well, like you would do with a
that's
glow stick.
hysterical.
You
Imagine
keep
if
it
it
in the
glowed.
fridge, which is so weird to me. Like amongst your groceries, you've got this ring. It stays inside you for 21 days
Oh, I didn't know
out of the
that.
month. Yeah, so you take it out for the last week, but I don't know, I can't remember now if you use the same one. I think you use a different one after that.
Yeah.
And it's 99% effective. So it's got good
Wow.
high rates. Yeah.
Is it hormone based or no?
Yeah, it's hormones.
Oh,
But
okay.
apparently it's quite a low dose of it. And that's why I was happy to try it.
Does it affect you differently if you're like, sorry for everyone who's finding our terminology ridiculous, but if it's at the source, like if it's in, the kingdom,
Mm.
like, and it's doing its job there, does the hormones then affect the rest of your body or no? I don't understand how hormones work, if I'm being honest.
Surely, because it's going into your bloodstream. So you'd probably think, because
Oh.
that's circulating your body, surely it would still affect the rest of your body. But I don't know. In my head, I was just like, right, it's right there. Hopefully, it won't make its way to my head. But that doesn't make sense at
Yeah,
all.
that's kind of how I feel about anything hormonal. I'm like, look, if it just get it to here, I'm pointing to like my neck for anyone who's not watching. Like if it can just like get here and down, that's
Yeah.
fine. If it
Yeah.
gets above, we're not in a safe zone.
Yeah. And I remember being like, this sounds
You've
really
been
silly, but
taken over.
I was concerned about the physical side of it, as in, first of all, putting it in, I was like,
Right.
whoa, how's this work? But all you do is like squeeze it together and get it up there, and
Yeah.
it's absolutely fine. But it's still, you can still kind of feel it, but you have to push it up like far
Right.
enough. So
You
that was a
do.
bit weird, but I used to wear tampons,
I was going to
so it
say,
was fine.
I feel like a lot of women are also affected about taking contraception based on how they manage their periods. So I feel like women who only use pads like sanitary towels, they're not going to feel too comfortable about anything that's invasive because they're not used to doing that to their body.
Mm,
Whereas I
mm,
think people who are comfortable with, like, for example, I use a menstrual cup, so I'm used to like getting up in there. That doesn't really affect me at all,
mm.
because it's, for me, I just feel safer with it, and I feel like I've been using it for like 3 years now, and I just feel way more comfortable with it. So I feel
Yeah,
like those things don't affect me. So therefore, my decision, I'm also someone who's quite not like open with my body, but you know what I mean. I'm like, if you need to do something to help me, do it, like whatever.
yeah,
So like, like
yeah,
what they called pap smears, smear tests and stuff. Couldn't care less.
yeah,
Do what you've got to do.
yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, if you're going to take pain away, you're going to help me out,
Yeah.
get up in there,
Yeah.
that's fine. um yeah, I was kind of also worried about like when I was active,
Mm.
when I had the ring in, would my partner be able to feel
Yeah, I don't quite
it?
understand. Like, is it really far up that they can't feel it, or does it go like around it because it's a circle? So like,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, but then I was like, how would you get it out again if it kind of popped up and opened up quite far up? Do you know what I mean? You'd have
oh
to really like go up and
yeah,
really sorry for people watching this who don't
Maybe I
really
should
want to
put a
think about that,
disclaimer at the front of this.
yeah. So anyways, I was on that for a bit, but then I just found it a bit uncomfortable and just weird, and I
Oh,
was
did
just
you?
like, nah, just didn't really want to do that. And then I got pregnant, so so yeah, great.
God, that's so funny. I didn't realize that was how quick it will happen.
I think it was soon after I stopped taking that.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it wasn't all not planned, to be fair with me
No.
there.
Actually, sort of, sorry, backtracking a little bit. How I was saying how women manage their periods, I think comes into it, but I also think their living situation. So when you were on what's it? I was about to call it the circle. This is our circle. What's it called?
The vaginal ring.
Vaginal ring. You were living with your parents, and you said that was
Yeah.
quite like uncomfortable having to put birth control in a fridge that's like a communal fridge, like between your.
Yeah.
So I think birth
100%.
control is also going to affect probably for at least young girls as well, who are, maybe starting to take the pill and then they don't really want. I'm not trying to promote everyone having, sex when they're 16 and young and stuff, but a lot of kids are or do. And it's not something that they're disclosing with their parents, and they're trying to still be safe by taking the pill, like going to health clinics and stuff and getting it there. But it's sort of like, where do you sort of store certain things if you need to use them?
Yeah, definitely. I think in some ways the pill is quite discreet. You can just put it in the pocket of your bag. You can put a reminder on your phone to take it every day. Yeah, and I guess maybe that's another reason for young people to get what's it, IUD thing that you said, the implant. It's not visible, so, and they don't have to think about it. They don't have to worry about their mum finding a packet somewhere or anything like that. So yeah, so that brings me on to the kind of last version. I don't think doctors would say this is a foolproof contraceptive method, but I just was reading about it online, the fertility awareness method. So that is a method where you track your ovulation period, or you track your whole 28 days or your cycle, and the days that you are ovulating, you abstain from having sex basically, or you use a condom or whatever. So that's not recommended. So this is probably the most like natural way. It's not recommended for teens, because when you're a teenager, your cycles aren't as regular. They still haven't got into that kind of rhythm yet.
Also, aren't you like crazy fertile as well then?
Probably. The younger you are, the more fertile, aren't you?
Yeah.
I guess it's quite hard to determine its effectiveness. I personally wouldn't swear by this, just because I think you can get pregnant like any time of the month probably. So I would definitely recommend maybe using something else. But a lot of women do this, and I swear if women are trying to get pregnant, don't some of them like take their temperature and stuff like that, like all different times?
They get real intense, I think, with certain stuff. I understand it, like if someone's really desperate to get knocked up, but I think for me, I'm very much like, I'm not someone who would want to stress my body out thinking about stuff, because then in my head I'm like, I'm preventing it from happening. So I just think, whenever it happens,
I just want to put a disclaimer out there, by the way. We are not professionals. This is all personal experience, just our own decisions. So if anyone decides that the pill is great for them, more power to you. Go for it, whatever works for you and your body. This is just personal experience. The pill has not made me feel good, made me feel my best self. Mental health for me is up there, is such a priority for me. Same. It's something that I've personally struggled with in the past few years, and it's something that I'm always out to make sure that everything is okay. I don't want to put that in jeopardy by taking something when there is an alternative potentially.
Yeah, we're definitely not trying to put anyone off taking birth control.
No.
Yeah. Like, we're not trying to put you off it, because it is a great thing, and obviously we're not trying to encourage any teen pregnancies out there.
No, and although the stats about the pandemic, we are so fortunate in this country to have free birth control, which is accessible. It's amazing, really, if you think about it and you look at other countries. Like, we're so fortunate. This brings me to the charity that I wanted to talk about today, which is called Chase Africa, and they are a charity that work in Kenya and Uganda, and they have found that a fifth of women in those two countries, and I think in the majority of Africa, can't access birth control, which is quite a scary number and has so many implications for young women who are then getting pregnant. That means they have to leave school, and there's a rise in poverty. There's so many implications of it. This charity have also found that since March 2020, there's been an increase of 44% of unplanned pregnancies in Kenya. From the timing of it, I would say that's probably down to the pandemic and probably people struggling to get birth control, to access it, to think that they can get it safely due to the fear of getting ill. Or maybe there's just a reduction in service because people are getting ill, or, you know, companies haven't got enough money. So if anyone is able to make a one-off donation, or again, they have, all these charities have a program where you can donate money every month, go and check out their website. And if you can donate, because we are so fortunate in this country, although we've had our own issues since the pandemic, the fact that we can still access it fairly easily from clinics or from our doctors, and that it's free, is amazing. So let's help out women in other countries that are less fortunate than us.
Yes, completely agree. I think it's a great cause. Thanks everyone for listening to this episode, and tune in for our next one. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and subscribed on YouTube.
YouTube.
And we'll see you for our next episode.
Bye.